What's up, you guys? Welcome to the June 11th edition of NBA 3-Ball presented by Established The Run. I'm your host, Mike Gallagher. Get ready to preview the two-game Friday slate, and we'll recap a little bit of the wild finish in Milwaukee. Going to kick it off with the Hawks, and we know we don't have DeAndre Hunter, who's out for the season. And yeah, we saw Solomon Hill start and get the token minutes to begin it. Got pulled, and Kevin Huerter really ran away with the playing time. 36 minutes would have been almost at pretty close to 20 second half minutes with the quick hook and really playing the whole way through. So Huerter's in a really good spot. But obviously you get to Trae Young, pretty good line, 21 with 11 dimes, and his stats tracking wise look pretty good. He had a lot of drives with 24 drives leading to 15 points, 21 potential assists, and that's with Ben Simmons and Matisse Thybulle on him for the majority of the game, which is the adjustment everyone was expecting. So yeah, I mean, he missed all his threes. I think he's, role-wise, is just as good as ever. Playing time's there. So certainly a really horrible matchup, but Trae is just so good that I could see him beating the bad matchup here. Bogdan certainly playing a ton, 41 minutes for him. Getting a lot of looks, getting a lot of clean looks. Not a lot of contested shots either. Just 27% of his shots have been contested from three, so that's a really good number, which, as expected, they want to keep Trae Young in check. So definitely think Bogdan is certainly in play. Collins also not getting a lot of rim shots, only 8 of them, so he needs more of those. So he's kind of an okay play. The volume's going to be there for playing time. Did get into foul trouble too, a little bit fouled out. So yeah, he's certainly just kind of a fine floor-ceiling combo without too much of a ceiling because it's going to be so guard-dependent for them scoring. It's almost impossible to play Clint Capella against Joel Embiid while we've seen a couple 7 minutes of the Lou Williams Trae Young overlap. It did not go well, so you're probably going to see closer to 2 minutes or even 0 minutes if they do mix things up. But McMillan sounded pretty satisfied with how things went. He did say he likes how he could bring Huerter off the bench if I didn't mention that. I mentioned it previously. So don't panic if he doesn't start. I still think he's going to play a bunch. But I think the Hawks hang in there after it looked like the Sixers have the edge, and they do. Philly side of this, and yeah, you start with their two stars. No offense to Tobias Harris, but Joel Embiid, man, I mean, obviously the 40 ball, but the usage is the story. 49.3 usage rate. That is the highest usage rate of his career. 16 post-ups. They just ran it to him. Doc Rivers called him really just everything for their offense and setting the tone. So, yeah, expect a really heavy dose of Joel Embiid again. Really hard to fade him. Minutes weren't too crazy at 35. Doc talked about that second unit stepping up and keeping him in check minutes-wise. So I think they wanted to get him to 37, but with the way the second unit is playing, 35 got it done. They obviously want to keep his minutes down whenever they can afford to do so. So I mentioned the high usage rate for Joel. On the exact polar opposite, Ben Simmons, 7.8 PJ Tucker-like usage rate. That is his lowest of his entire career. So Embiid the highest and Ben the lowest certainly makes sense. And just a 14.8 in Game 1. Those are his two lowest usage rates in the postseason after the games against the Wizards. Really light usage. Not being involved. Too much dunker spot stuff. Not initiating the offense. Really just hard to be in on Ben with the two light usage rate games. And I thought he was going to have a big game. I like the style of play. Like John Collins being on him. So I do think he could bounce back. But obviously it's a really discouraging opportunity for him. And then obviously the bench, Matisse Thybulle, George Hill, and really the hero, Shake Milton, pick up some playing time, really cut into Danny Green, really cut into Seth Curry, who had a really good start to this game. So those guys will certainly be affected. I think Green is by far on the shorter leash because Trae Young has been kind of attached to him, and they're going to hide him on him. So if they could play Thybulle instead, and Green's not really cooking offensively. Did pass great, 8 assists, so does have some leash, but I think he could be at risk of getting pulled if things kind of get away from them. To the Suns, just Chris Paul, utter domination here. Obviously that 15 assist 0 turnover line, I'm sure I heard a bunch about. 26 potential assists in just 31 minutes is insane. I mean, you're talking about a potential assist almost per minute. It's wild. So, and again, the story here has been all their starters providing usage and pretty decent efficiency. Mikal had some big shots late after a cold start here, Minutes were down a little bit as the second unit kind of picked up some slack. But yeah, just Chris Paul. I mean, he's rolling. This team can't defend him. They're going to make some adjustments, which I'm going to talk about. But I don't think it matters. Chris Paul's just too good at reading defenses. So definitely into him. And Devin Booker has kind of suffered because this offense is just running so smoothly that he doesn't need to take those isolation, contested, off-ball screen with a body on him kind of thing that they've been running offense for him. So, yeah, definitely capped upside-wise. Could see that changing, of course, at Devin Booker. DeAndre Ayton saw a little bit more of his paint touches. He got 13 of them in Game 2, more elbow touches, getting more on-ball screen stuff. So, certainly ways for him to take a big step forward. Liked how he picked up 2 fouls, stayed in the game, didn't pick up any more as well. So, Ayton in a pretty big spot. We'll see if their role coverages change, because they've been really leaving guys open and kind of keeping Ayton limited. So if they change, you could maybe see a little bit more Ayton here as well. Obviously, Dario Saric has been pretty productive off the bench. Really good plus-minus from their second unit. But, yeah, nothing really too crazy. Still seeing some campaign. Chris Paul overlap just a little bit to give Payne a little bit of a floor to him in this matchup. So, Nuggets, man. Mike Malone just distraught in his post-game presser. Basically talked about how he could have a tough time finding 5 guys who want to go out there and play. Said that just guys didn't care. He said that guys were moping around after misses. Certainly makes you think about Michael Porter Jr. Was really short when asked about his back injury. So definitely think MPJ, who got that short rotation in the third quarter, he could be at risk of losing playing time. Wasn't aggressive, settling for jumpers. I wouldn't say he's really settling because he's really good at them, but I like to see that aggressive side of him to give him a little bit more ceiling. I'm going to be on his unders again. I was on his unders for the last game, so definitely like him. Will Barton did have that 12 to 18 minute cap on him. Got him in there for 16. Mike Malone said that he hated him for pulling him out and hitting that cap. So probably looking at like 22 minutes for this one, given the circumstance and given how I thought Barton looked pretty good. Moved around really well, hustled back on defense, so definitely a pretty good spot for Barton just as far as playing time goes. So the big adjustment for me here, if they do go Galaxy Brain, and they kind of have to, given the way the Suns have just picked them apart, and they want more size to both kind of protect the paint, and they won't have to roll such hard coverage to limit rollers and just drives into the paint, it just makes sense to go bigger. So I think the move is Rivers gets benched, and then start Jermichael Green, play MPJ at the 2. This has been done before, so I think it's not totally Galaxy Brain. But definitely think Jermichael Green has made a pretty decent impact. We saw Jermichael Green get some center minutes as well. So that could be another path to him finding time. Millsap was aggressive, had a pretty good stat line, and kind of used his body pretty well. Got some looks from 3. But defensively, he's kind of been roasted. So could certainly see that happening. So adjustment-wise, the guy is clearly Jermichael Green, if you want to bet on him, who's going to be in the rotation and then offers upside if they do go that way. Pretty good post defender, so it's not crazy to think they put Jermichael Green on Ayton here. So definitely a lot to like for him. Certainly, Jokic definitely looks gassed. They're just doing it on purpose. They're putting him in so many actions, and that's by design. You can tell what the Suns' game plan is, and they're executing it great. But potential assists are down. He has just 8 potential assists per game in this series. That's down from almost 14 per game in the regular season. Post up and elbow touches are down. He's getting the ball too high up with the way the Suns are defending him. So, 4.5 makes it the rim per game. That's not great. Unassisted on almost all, more than under half those. So that's an issue. So definitely think Joker has to be a monster in this game. Probably getting the MVP trophy in front of the fans. We'll see how he reacts to that. But, yeah, I definitely think Joker's still a pretty good play. Bucks get the win. Just a bananas game with a red-hot start for the Bucks. Nets come roaring back to make it close and had a lead late in the game and couldn't hold on. Just talk about the Nets side of this. But the headline here is Chris Middleton was just completely taken out of the last 2 games. Comes out ultra-aggressive. Didn't really get great shots most of the time, but he was confident in shooting them. We saw a lot of mid-range, saw a little driving. Confident in 3 points. Again, he had no wide-open shots in the first 2 games. I don't know if he got any in this one either. He was defended really well by Bruce Brown. Drew Holiday, major minutes, doesn't do anything with them. And then obviously Giannis. Giannis was not playing around, really attacked the basket as they pretty much sagged off him, but he would try to wiggle his way through spin moves, post-ups, drives, backing it out, and then trying to drive back in. So they made it very clear they didn't care. There were some pretty nice jumpers, 1 of 8 from 3 as well. So good stuff from him. And Brook Lopez was phenomenal. 6 blocks. Put him up. That almost offset my bad Middleton takes on the DFS show. But Brook comes through, gets 35 minutes. Thought that was a big adjustment they were going to make to play him more, and it worked out. Just Bobby Portis hasn't worked out at all, so we got ourselves a series now. To the net side of this, I mean, just too much Bruce Brown. He had that layup at the end, a contested shot. Like, yeah, layups are good, but not when you have Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. Just get those guys the ball. So they really had so many Bruce Brown floaters. He played great. Double-double. This defense I mentioned was pretty good, but he was way too involved late in this game, especially with Durant hitting some tough shots. Kind of crazy, but Durant, great game. After a rocky start here, still comes up with a 30, 11, and 5, 4 steal and a block game. Ultra aggressive Durant, doesn't care about defense. Got some pretty good looks as well, so it could have been a bigger game. He missed a lot of easy ones, but yeah, definitely he's the man. Kyrie, again, kind of just so-so. Drew Holiday was really good on him, very limited. Great looks from him as well. And man, Joe Harris just got good look after good look all game. 1 of 11. So many good little. Everything was open. I don't think he had anything that was really badly contested. So that was tough. Blake played pretty well again. Not much scoring, but contributed in other ways. And he did about as good as he can on Giannis. So that's it. You guys have a great weekend. Catch you next time.